Hello everyone, this is Taliesin McKnight. Thank you for joining me today. Today's subject is Ein Sof and the 10 Sefirot in the Kabbalah. Ein Sof and the 10 Sefirot. What we are dealing with here is the unknowable Godhead and the qualities or attributes of God. So we're dealing with the unknowable God and the revealed deity that man can know. This is often symbolized in the Kabbalah by the Hebrew letter Aleph. The Hebrew letter Aleph shows a Vav with two Yuds on each side. And the two Yuds represent the unknowable Godhead that our mind cannot grasp and the revealed deity that we can know. Ein Sof in Hebrew means no limit. The Hebrew word Ein means no or not. And Sof means boundary or limit. So Ein Sof means boundless, limitless. It refers to limitlessness, infinite. Ein Sof is the ground of being. It is that in which we live and move and have our being. A lot of people tend to think of God as an external being. A lot of people tend to put human ideas on God. We think of him as some heavenly man on a throne or some wise entity flying through the sky or something like that. In the Kabbalah, God, Ein Sof, has no categories. There is nothing that you could ascribe to it. To call God A means that God can't be B. That is a limit, a boundary. To say that God is white means that God can't be black. That's a limit. So you cannot ascribe categories or things to deity. Ein Sof is beyond the mind's grasp. It is often referred to as nothing. But it doesn't mean nothing as in the lack of things. It doesn't mean nothing as in the lack. Ein Sof is more full than anything that we could grasp. It is the lack of things. There are no differences, no distinguishing separation within Ein Sof. All things come from Ein Sof. It is the ground of being. Things are expressions of it. So, for example, you can't say that God is green or purple or black or red. All of these different colors spring forth from Ein Sof. So to say God is black or purple, all these colors spring from it. So all the different sounds and smells and colors and textures, different shapes, different qualities, all of these things have their source within Ein Sof, and Ein Sof transcends them all. Ein Sof is the ground of being. If you could think of a ground with different plants springing from the ground, so that you have different plants of different colors and fragrances. You have this ground, Ein Sof. You may have oak trees. You may have apple trees, ivy, grass, green grass, moss. You may have different flowers of different colors. All of these things are separate and different and distinguished. But they all have their source within the same dark loam. They all have their source within the ground of being. And although there are differences between them, they all have their source, and these plants of different colors and scents and textures are different universes, people, beings, and colors, which all have their source within the ground of being. They come from it, and to it they return. Ein Sof is the beginning and the end. It is the source of the all. So, Ein Sof is that which precedes being. Being has its source within Ein Sof. So you could see the absurdity in saying that Ein Sof is white or black or green, or to say that Ein Sof is good or just, to say that Ein Sof is male or female, because all of these things come from Ein Sof. All of these things have their source within it. They are expressions of it. So you cannot, it is the lack of categories. Now, our human minds are based in differentiation. That's how we experience our world. This shirt is orange and the wall is white, and there's the past and the present, and there's this and that and good and bad. So that's how our minds grasp our world. When you come to undifferentiated unity and infinity, that is beyond what our minds could grasp. And that is why Ein Sof is often referred to as nothing, because there are no things within it. But things have their source within Ein Sof. So Ein Sof means no limit. There are the lack of things, differentiation. There are no boundaries, no categories, and no differences. God is not A or B or male or female, has no color or shape, because all of these things come from Ein Sof. And this is the unknowable deity. This is the source of the all. It is past and present, all time, all wrapped up into one. God is often referred to as the place. So instead of an external being or entity flying through the sky with feelings and human emotions, God is more the place, the area. So that it is the place in which things occur. We live and breathe and move and have our being within it. So God is like the stadium in which a football game happens, and the football game is creation. And the stadium is the Ein Sof in which it occurs. So God, instead of being some being out there in the sky, God is here. It's happening. God is a verb. God is what occurs in the world. God is, we are all, everything that happens within God. Creation. So you go from this primordial unity, Ein Sof, which is everything and nothing. Then creation occurs. Creation, here we come to attribute. From Ein Sof, you get different colors. From Ein Sof, you get different animals, different laws. You get hot and cold, light and dark, male and female. So creation occurs. Creation emanates from Ein Sof. So in creation, you have different attributes, different qualities. You have expansion and contraction. You have different colors and smells and sights. You have different things that spring from Ein Sof and that are Ein Sof. Creation is the self-revelation of God. It is the self-unfolding of God. So you have different colors, and you have past and future and all of this within creation. It is the self-revelation and unfolding of God. It is the manifestation out of the limitlessness. And so we have creation, we have the sun and moon and stars and people and cities. And all of these come from the ground of being. And so you have big skyscrapers and civilization and all of this. Creation is the self-revelation of God. And you have what is known as the 10 Sefirot. The Kabbalistic tree of life is a map of our psyche, the cosmos, the forces of nature, and the different attributes or qualities of God. And creation is the revelation of Ein Sof. So to say, why doesn't God show himself to me? Why doesn't God do this? The question is absurd when you consider it the ground of being in which we live. God ceases to be this outside person and instead is everything. So creation is the self-revelation and unfolding of God. And so creation is the revelation of deity. It is the book of nature. The idea is that you could look at the heavens. You could look at the laws of nature, the forces of nature. You could look at the rising and the setting sun. And all of these are glimpses into the mind of God. So that by studying nature, you could come to understand the unknowable Godhead. And this is why we say that although we can't know God in the Kabbalah, they say that you can only come to understand God through His creation. You can only come to understand God by how God acts in the world. So you have the book of nature. Nature is the unfolding and revelation of the divine, of Ein Sof. So that by studying nature, by looking within yourself, by looking at the patterns of the cosmos, you are catching a glimpse into the mind of God. And that is why the tree of life, the 10 Sefirot, the forces of nature are so important. So let's take, for example, art. An artist will paint a picture. That picture comes from the mind of the artist. It has to come from your imagination. So that picture will reveal something about the consciousness of the painter. If you do make a sculpture, that came from your mind. So it is a revealing of the artist. In the same way, human civilization, architecture, that all comes from our minds. It reveals about us, our music and art that we create. However, creation implies a separation. It implies creating something outside. This is more emanation. Emanation has more to do with creation within God, within God's essence. So you have that. So the 10 Sefirot is the cosmic blueprint. So all smells and sights and sounds and male and female, hot and cold, everything in the world comes from Ein Sof and is a revelation of Ein Sof. So creation is the revelation and unfolding of deity. And in the process of creation, we symbolize the Kabbalah symbolizes the attributes and qualities of God that we can know, which is in creation, within us, by the 10 Sefirot. So from this unknowable Godhead, the 10 Sefirot is a map of the psyche, a map of the forces of nature, and the qualities and attributes of God is revealed within creation. So that we are a manifestation, a revelation of the divine. And in this way, God ceases to be an external being. God is, it is the place, it is the divine ground in which we move and have our being. So God, instead of a point in space, becomes the area, the circumference of the circle, so to speak. And that is a basic look at Ein Sof and the 10 Sefirot. The 10 Sefirot, the blueprint of creation, the map of creation. Creation reveals to us about the unknowable Godhead. And the 10 Sefirot reveal this. So we have things such as male and female. We see opposites in nature. We see creation and destruction in nature. Through studying the laws of nature, through studying the Sefirot on the Kabbalistic tree of life, we could come to understand something about God. But deity is more than the sum of its parts. If you go to a painter making a painting, that painting isn't all of you, it's just an aspect. A finite world could not reveal something that's infinite. So it is just a part. Creation is just a part of the infinite, unknowable God, in which there are no differences, no separation, no categories that the mind can grasp. And that is the Ten Sefirot and Ein Sof, which means boundlessness, the unknowable deity. Anyways, thank you for joining me, and once again, this is Taliesin McKnight. Take it easy, y'all.